Oliver and Jumpy by Werner Stacecar. Volume 19. The Bee Gnomes, Unexpected Lorry, Down the Well, and Story Writing. Is this your first encounter with Oliver and Jumpy? Yes? Then let me tell you about them. Oliver is an elegant tomcat, and Jumpy is his best friend. They are always on the lookout for new adventures together. Oliver lives in a treehouse on the mighty oak tree. He is the most famous cat in the country. The Bee Gnomes by Werner Stacecar. Illustrator Macy N. Reyes. I'm an elegant cat, but occasionally nasty visitors are telling me that I'm not a tidy cat. I admit that I will only clean the windows when I cannot see the real world through them anymore. And I might have a few unwashed dishes standing around. And my clothes are not always folded away. Or maybe never. All right, I admit it. I could do with some help. So you can imagine my surprise when I was suddenly waking up to a very tidy house. Every morning. No matter how messy I left it last night. Somebody was cleaning up quietly while I was asleep. I was curious who did it. I pretended to sleep with one eye slightly open and snoring soundly just for good measure. Then I heard somebody coming over the windowsill. Soon it became apparent that several helpers had arrived. They were bee gnomes. I left some cookies on the table. I did not want to frighten them, and only pretended to wake up when they were in the room. The whole family huddled together and watched me a bit wary. Hello, why are you helping me? We did want to make a good impression, because we have a favor to ask. They were bee gnomes. Their houses are built in tall trees. One day a big machine of the people came and cut down their tree, leaving them homeless. The people do this kind of thing and don't consider that trees are homes for many creatures. This family simply asked to share my tree and build new huts farther up. I would also benefit from the honey. I love honey. Several of their hives quickly went up, and happy bees were soon buzzing around. It became as busy as an airport. We had to implement proper flight control so that their flight path was not right over my house. We had a housewarming party. Jumpy and Joey came for a visit. We all drank to each other's health. Everybody was happy. I certainly have to make sure that my tree will never be felled. Please tell everybody not to cut old trees. Know me by Unexpected Lorry by Werner Stacecar. Illustrator Macy N. Reyes. Quickly I jumped below the bushes. Mousy was tired and I was exhausted too, but I have longer legs. One final jump, and I caught him. Gotcha! That was a cool chase, I gasped. Yes, great, but don't squeeze me so hard. We have a weekly chase for exercise. I'm allergic to mice, so I don't eat him. Mousy gets cheese as a reward. It was 4 o'clock in the morning. I was spent and had barely made it to my tree when I noticed a light in my treehouse. Was it a burglar? I crept quietly up the tree trunk and went silently across the veranda. Then I quickly opened the door and made a kung fu somersault right into the center of the room. I realized that a cat was sleeping on my precious pillow. Who would dare break into my elegant home and sleep on my beloved bed? I went right over there to tell this impostor off. Then I stopped in my tracks. It was a young girl. She was the most beautiful Burman cat. I was in love. Meow, meow. She was sleeping all cozy curled up, so I didn't want to wake her. She was twisting and turning, obviously having a bad dream. Finally, I decided it would be better to bring her back to reality and release her from her nightmare. I touched her shoulder and shook her. This triggered an unexpected reaction. She punched me in the nose, and I fell on my back. She looked at me alarmed. While her head began clearing from her dream, she realized what she had done. Are you Oliver? Yes. Is that how you introduce yourself? Breaking into my house, sleeping on my most treasured pillow, and punching me in the nose? I responded upset. Take it easy, old man, don't get excited. I'm sorry, I thought you were the guy chasing me in my dream. I was speechless about such manners and language, holding my bleeding nose. I was not that old, but she was still almost a kitten. What should I expect? Nobody was home. I was not going to hang out on the veranda. You know what I mean, dude? I was amazed by her unacceptable language. Who was this stray cat? And what was she doing here? Who are you? She explained that she was a second cousin on my mother's side. She had an argument with her mom and had run away. She had heard about me being a famous, elegant person, admired by all the country, and decided to seek her fortune with me. How do you expect this to work out? And what is your name anyway? I was tired after my night out. I'm Laurie, and I want to stay with you, please. Everybody knows that I only pretend to be a fighting gentleman. In reality, I'm quite a softie, and I can't stay angry for very long. It is late, so let's sleep on this, and we will see what to do tomorrow. Where do you think I was sleeping that night? Not on my pillow. I had to take second best, the carpet. Laurie was preening herself in front of my mirror next morning. I was getting edgy since I had to do my own beauty treatment. So, what to do with her? I sent a message to Lori's mum, telling her about her daughter. Lori was already disillusioned. She thought she was going on an adventure, but I had not measured up to her expectations. I introduced her to Jumpy and Joey, and we took her to Candy Forest. That gave her some positive impressions. She filled a whole bag with candy to take home. Then her parents came to fetch her. What a character, I thought. Don't run away, darling. Stay with your parents for a little while longer. Betty bye. Down the Well by Werner Stacecar. Illustrator Macy Ann Reyes. I was dreaming of the dry well nearby. It had been dug a very long time ago, so nobody could remember when exactly. I was sitting on the edge, lost my balance, and fell down. I was not dropping rapidly, but floated slowly lower and lower until I reached the bottom. Ouch! I had fallen on someone. Watch what you are doing! You are killing me! Who or what are you anyway? I'm Oliver, and I'm a gentleman cat. Well, I don't know even what I am, so how would I know what an Oliver cat is? You are a frog, I said, after finding my night vision in the darkness of the deep well. You can say anything to me. There is nobody else to tell me otherwise. You are a heavenly creature, so you must know. I'm not from heaven, I'm just a cat, I told you already. You are an Oliver cat creature from heaven. Up there is the whole world. There are more creatures, not just cats. You come from the sky, where all the heavenly creatures live in paradise. I can see a star, or the sun, and the moon sometimes. Are you friendly with them up there? The sun is still much higher up than we are, but tell me about yourself. What do you eat down here? I catch cockroaches and spiders. Plenty of food for, what did you call me again? A frog? The well has a bit of water too, so I'm totally happy. What do you do all day? It must be pretty boring being all by yourself. Not at all. I count the birds flying across the heavens up there. I do sums to get my brain going, and I jump a lot for exercise. My jumps are reaching higher and higher, all the time. One day I will jump all the way up to the sky and meet everybody up there. How high can you jump? Are you jumping back to your heavenly friends? Unfortunately, I cannot jump that high. I will have to keep you company until somebody misses me and helps me out of here. Well, you can practice jumping with me. Who knows, maybe you can manage one day to reach the stars up there. But what will I eat? I'm already hungry. I may have to eat you if my stomach does not stop growling. Now that would be quite impolite. After all, you are my guest, and guests don't eat hosts. I can offer you the occasional cockroach if that helps. Now the sun was high in the sky at midday, and a tiny ray reached all the way down to us. I could see my host. He was a large green frog with big brown warts all over. He did not look very tasty, but I reserved judgment until later, when my stomach would grumble louder. but then he might look a lot more inviting. The frog, I called him Froggy, did his jumping exercises then, and when darkness fell, he started his croak croak song. He soon got on my nerves because he never stopped. "Why do you keep up this racket?" I asked, annoyed. "That is my mating call. It's my job to call." "Have you ever received any answer?" "No, but you never know. There's always hope. The heavens will send a mate down to me. Hey, when you go back up there, could you put in a good word for me to send me a wife? After all, that's what heaven is supposed to do. Look after lonely frogs." By then I had given up telling him that we were not heavenly creatures, but I promised to advertise for a frog lady who might like to spend the rest of her days in the well with him, warts and all. In the meantime, I had to attend to my own needs, namely, to promptly leave this damp hole in the ground. I might catch the flu in such a wet spot. Lucky for me, the well was almost dry. Imagine how undignified I would look as a wet cat. So the first and probably only thing I could do to make somebody pay attention to my plight was to cry for help. Meow, 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 meow. I tried a variation of my best calls. Usually somebody would throw stones at me if I cried like that, balancing on a fence. But today there was nobody around. Froggy did tell me that from time to time the creatures would throw round heavy things down the well that hit him once or twice. I collect them, have a look at my stash. He had a few stacks of coins on the side of the wall. People had thrown money down for good luck. "That's money, you are rich, you can buy yourself things with it." What am I saying? There are no shops in the well. What would a frog need anyway? "What would you like most?" "A few fat flies and a wife," he answered dreamily. Growl, growl. Now my stomach was really upset. I had not eaten since yesterday. I haven't been this hungry since I was lost in the desert. "Froggy, I'm sorry, I have to eat you now, but I will grant you 3 last wishes." "All right, I understand you have to eat. My first wish is that you don't eat me before sunrise." I was starving, but maybe I could wait another few hours. After all, it was a question of honor to grant him his last wishes. The next morning he came up with his second wish, which was not to get eaten until sunset. By then I was ravenous, and, believe me, it is all lies that cats can live many days without eating. At least I had no wish to try that. So, when sunset arrived, Froggy said, as expected, that his very last wish would be not to get eaten until sunrise, because it would be scary getting eaten in the dark of the night. By then I had already lost some weight and was fainting. I had a vision of Krispy Kreme donuts floating past me, and I could not catch them. The one with vanilla cream filling looked especially delicious. I was floating in my dreamy condition up toward the sky, higher and higher, until the full sun at the top of the well almost blinded me. I jumped over the edge, glad to be out of the well again. In reality, though, I had just rolled off my beautiful Indian sleeping pillow. I had woken up from my dream. After breakfast I went to the well and called down to see if there was really a frog living in it. The answer was croak, croak. So I had been dreaming about Froggy after all, even if I had not really been with him myself. I promised to find him a wife, and a lady eventually joined him. So now, every evening, there is a veritable concert down in that well with their babies joining in. Croaky bye! Story Writing by Werner Stacecar. Illustrator Macy N. Reyes. Hello, faithful readers or listeners. By now I have written a number of stories, especially for you, but I don't know if you really like them. It would be great if you could tell me what you think. I'm telepathic. This means that I can hear you in my mind if you tell me a message. So you can cry out loud, "Oliver, I like your stories, keep writing them." Thanks, I hear you loud and clear. A new story is already being written. Every morning when I get up, I can hear a rolling noise on my desk. It is my pretty blue pen, the one I use to write my stories. Her name is Penny. She's a girl who knows what she wants. She says, "Oliver, when are you writing your next story with me? I'm bored. I want to write words." She continues asking until I pick her up, squeeze her with my paw, and let her do her thing. As we begin, words flow onto the paper and slowly start to form a story. But it is not that easy at all, because now some of the words are not happy and begin to complain. One might say, "I'm not the right word, write another one." Another word will say, "You are using me too often, I'm getting tired." Or, "You misspelled me." I try very hard to make everybody happy. Eventually, I copied the stories from the paper in the tablet computer. Now the tablet has opinions and is telling me, "I need more electricity," or he says, "I have no space left, please remove some of the old stories." There is no end to the complaints. You may wonder where the words to write the stories are hiding. Sometimes words tell a story of what has happened to you. Another time words describe a dream you had last night. I like to use words to make up nice stories. When I write them, the words are sent to me by the word fairy. She's a good friend and has a lot of words in her castle. There are so many that you could never count them all. If you know your numbers, though, you could begin to count them. The word fairy sends me only 1,000 words a day. This is just enough for one story. I have to be careful to choose the right ones. Otherwise, the story is never finished or too short. Imagine if you are reading and suddenly the last part is missing. That would not be very nice. I'm always looking for new ideas to help me write a good tale. Ideas have wings and fly around everywhere. You just have to catch them. You cannot catch them with a butterfly net. Have you ever done that? When I was small, we had many butterflies in the fields, but not anymore. Now the world is too dirty. Maybe if we clean up everything, they might come back again. You can help. Ask your teacher or parents to help you think of ways to save the butterflies. So how do you catch ideas? Here in Zealandia, the silly country, I just take my binoculars and look at the ideas flying around. When I see a good one, I will grab it and say, "Got you!" Then the idea is mine. Nobody can take it away. This idea, together with the right words, sent by the word fairy, become a new story. Does that sound easy? It is. You just have to learn how to do it correctly. Are you ready to write your own story? Or maybe you still have to learn your ABCs? That's alright too. You still have time. The good thing is that there are always lots of ideas floating around. Sometimes I see ideas flying through my dreams. Those are the tricky ones. They try to fly away and are much harder to catch. I cry, "Stop, stop, idea, I want you. You are mine." But the idea is floating off into another corner of dreamland. There is only one way to catch an idea that is trying to escape. You have to wake up quickly and write it down. You always need to have paper and pen ready on your bedside table. You won't remember your idea in the morning unless you write it down then. Ideas, like most dreams, have a way of disappearing once you wake up. One night a particular idea kept escaping, and I just could not catch her, but I made myself a promise that I would try again the next night. In the evening I told myself again and again that tonight I must snatch her. I tried very hard, but it took 3 nights until finally she was mine. And she was worth the effort. It became a good story. Naturally, I can only choose ideas that will be suitable for my Oliver and Jumpy series. If you happen to catch a good idea and you cannot write your own story, you could email it to me and I just might be able to use it later on. How about that? Is it a deal? High five! Rightio, this story was about how I write stories. Now you know where they come from and how much help I get from my pen, the words, the word fairy, and the ideas. The world is beautiful and there are still many more amazing stories to be told. You just have to find them. I will do my best to bring them to you. Love you. Bye-bye. Thank you very much for reading Oliver and Jumpy. You are now a special friend and you will be able to take part in all their adventures.